in enduring grow strong.
Hello, can you hear me? Yes, you can. Something is wrong. Why? Why is my microphone suddenly in mono? I do not know. Hello, welcome everyone. So, hooray! I am back. I'm just seeing that I am eligible for the Plus program or something. Man, I haven't been on Twitch, or I haven't been on this side of Twitch, on the streamer content creator side of Twitch for so long. Oh my goodness. A lot has happened, and I just did not have the energy to stream. I was so drained. But I'm back. I think, okay. OBS? Okay, I just want to make sure. I just want to make sure because I had to update my Elgato Wavelink, which is the program I use for managing all of my various audio inputs. Uh so I want to make sure that everything is actually proper. That everything is still routed through where it should be. And I need to check if it's possible to hear the music, for example, that I have playing in my browser right now, which might not be the smartest thing to do. I really should have tested this beforehand, but you know, yeah, I'm not smart. All right. Seems everything is okay. You cannot hear the browser unless I turn it on, which is good. I don't want random sounds to go out to stream. I'm just a bit concerned because suddenly my my microphone is in mono, not in stereo. At least that's what it looks like. But that is for another time. All right, I will have to go through all of my OBS and check all of the setup, but at least it works. You can hear me. No random sounds are coming through, which is very good. And yeah. So a lot has happened. A lot has happened in the past few weeks. And I was very drained. Very unable to stream. Like kind of like I mentioned this. I mentioned this on Blue Sky. I alluded to it. And that is streaming is fun. I enjoy it. And afterwards, most of the time, I should say, it feels good. It feels fulfilling, right? This is why I do this. However, starting to stream, getting ready to stream, picking out something to do, something to talk about, starting a stream, still costs energy because of course it does, right? Duh. And I did not have the necessary amount of starting energy, to put it that way, in order to click start streaming. To get to into the stream and then start feeling good. So that's where I was. But I am doing better now, which is why I'm here streaming. All right. So let's switch over to the game, and I have to set up. Okay, I see here now. I have to set up Minecraft. Whoa, okay, this window is a bit big. Okay, let's move over. All right, so I'm just gonna do a bit of this while talking about what happened. So a lot of things happened. It's been 3 weeks, roughly 3 weeks, not quite. I think I've lost count. Holy heck, I've lost count. Um, but yeah, so it started out with me applying for a job. Are those pillagers? It started with me applying for a job, and going through the entire process, because the process was a lot of stages, as most jobs are. First, I had to send in my application. Okay, that got accepted. Then I had to also send in a short presentation video. So that one got accepted. And then I had to do a written test. So if they accept your application, um, then you have to do a written test. And I have to preface this with saying I I didn't get the idea of applying for this job. The job, so I'm by training, I am a linguist and a language teacher, right? So any job related to those things I can do fairly easily. I have about 10 years of experience in teaching by now. Um, I know how to teach languages, how to explain languages, all that good stuff. Uh, so if someone asks me, "Yo, I have a German teaching position open. You want to come in, or an English teaching position, or something, right? Or or even something like beginner Chinese." I'm like, "Yeah, sure, sure, I can come in, right? I don't need much of a notice. I can just go in and teach. That's not a problem. I'm very familiar with that." The job I was applying to was for a radio host. That okay? Was for a radio host. Um, and that's kind of, sorta ish. I mean, not really related to teaching, if you think about it, right? Like, sure, I stream, so I know how to talk to a camera. A camera and a microphone. I know how to talk to a microphone mostly to an invisible audience. I don't know how many people are listening right now. I don't know if anyone's listening right now, but that's okay. I'm just sitting here talking. It's perfectly fine. I can do this. I can do this for several hours, in fact, if I actually have the time. I don't have the time today to sit here for too many hours. I have more stuff planned later. That's another point. My schedule has been very busy, but more on that in a bit. Um, and so yeah, I was thinking, okay, it might be an interesting change of pace. You know, could be cool to branch out a little bit. I like talking about things. I like discussing new things that I discover. Like discussing the place I live in right now, like Taiwan. Um, is yeah okay, right. The radio station, the job at the radio station would mostly have been describing or talking about facets of life in Taiwan, politics of Taiwan, history of Taiwan, etc. to foreigners. Um, and it's like, okay, sure, I love talking about things. That's why I'm a streamer, right? I love talking about the culture of my home country because yeah, I find it fascinating, and I think other people might also find it fascinating if they knew about it. And so that's kind of the attitude that I brought to it. Uh, and I was sought out right? I didn't I didn't say, "Oh, I want to become a radio host." Sure. Yeah, that's totally the career path I want to go down right now. Career path is a bit too big. That's totally the kind of job experience I want to gather right now. I was looking for teaching jobs here, and I was sought out by someone working at the radio station, and saying, "Yo, I heard you're back here. You want to come work with us?" Um, but I would have to go through the actual full process, right? The actual words application process. Just like everyone, I was like, yeah, okay, sure, that's fair. But you are asking me to come here, and so you're essentially very, very interested in what I may have to offer, I guess. So yeah, sure, why not? I would like to try this out. Could be interesting. Um, but what I wasn't fully told is, yeah, no, this is actually a completely open normal application. They're actually looking for someone for real, for real. And this was more like, oh, by the way, I am notifying you that this application is going to be open in like a month. So please do apply. It might be cool, right? So it's not so much recruiting me as telling me that there's an application happening or an application opening, which is a very different situation. Um, wow. Okay. So I went in there, handed in all of my. I mean, I still treated it like a legit application because, of course, right? You still want to put an effort and make sure that people actually like that you're not, oh, I just got in because someone knew me on the inside. It's like, no, 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 I applied and I went the legit route. Um, but then at the written exam, which was 2 hours, uh, there were eight other applicants. It's like, oh wow, okay, this is not quite what I thought was gonna happen. That's a lot of people applying for a dinky little position. Like, it's not a big radio station. It's like a tiny little thing. The team has like 4 people. The current team. Well, I guess the current team now is 5. Um, but there's like 4 people or so working on there, and 9 people, including me, were applying. Wow. Okay. Hmm. So I became really, really nervous. As soon as I saw that, I was like, oh heck, wow, what is going on? That's a lot of other people who are interested in becoming a radio host here in Taiwan. And so I did the test, and the test was mostly based on news stuff, right? Which I have no training in whatsoever. And just messed that up. Um, it was the test was mainly dealing with writing news reports, right? Short news summaries and such. Um, translating them and so on. And it's like, oof, okay, I have no idea what I'm actually doing here right now. Let's hope I don't mess this up. Apparently I didn't mess it up. Apparently I did okay. I got through that stage and was invited to an interview. Um, which was also very, very strange. Oh, okay, that broke quickly. So, if you think of a job interview, right? You think like, okay, yeah, I'm going in, and then the interview will be something like maybe half an hour, maybe 1 hour, right? If it's the last thing, right? It's the first and last interview. It's the only interview, right? There's no. I know that some companies do multiple stages, multiple interviews with different departments or different people to judge your expertise in multiple areas, or to have different people judge if you are a fit, etc. No, this was the one and only interview. It's like, okay, fair. Um, they planned 15 minutes. 15 minutes of interview, and 5 of those 15 minutes were a self presentation. So you already sent in a video of yourself about 5 minutes, right? Talking about introducing yourself, self introduction, I guess is a better word. And now they're like, oh, and we're doing the interviews, and the first 5 minutes of those interviews, by the way, is you introducing yourself. Huh. Okay. This is a bit odd. So the actual questions, they asked me like 2 questions in the entire interview. It's like, that's not a lot. That's really not a lot. Um so I was very, very surprised. Oops. There. At the whole process, and didn't quite know what to do, how to expect it. I was super nervous. I couldn't sleep well. I had like my bowel problems went through the roof. I was stuck on the toilet for hours on end the week leading up to the interview. So I don't know. Well, I was a wreck. I was an absolute wreck during that week. So that was the first week I didn't stream. That was the first week. So I was a complete and utter nervous wreck during that whole time. Oh, oh no. Oh no. Oh no, that's not good. That's a pillager. That is bad. That is double plus ungood. And we do this. All right, and then we wait. Um so that's why I had no energy. I could not stream at all during that week. The interview was on a Thursday or something like that, right towards the latter half of the week. Um, and I was so done with the world leading up to it, and also afterwards. Afterwards as well, I was extremely just yeah, exhausted, and also just sitting there waiting for an answer. It's like, oh, will I have a new job? What is gonna happen? Right? Um, how is this going to change my life, if at all? Um, right? What do I have to learn, etc. And then I got an answer about a week later, saying like, "Oh, thank you for your application. Da da da. We've made our decision. You are the second choice." Like, huh? Okay, I'm the second choice, which I guess pretty cool. I've never worked in radio before. I've never worked in news before. My only kinda sorta related ish experience is streaming. And I guess things like uh researching stuff for texts for my lessons and such, researching some material for my lessons. But not a lot. And I got second choice. So if the first choice doesn't accept their position, then I get to have the job. Um the first choice, I guess, ended up accepting the position because I never got any other reply, any other follow up saying, "Oh, you're hired." Nope, nothing like that. So, you know, I didn't get the job. Uh, I was, I have to say, I was pretty disappointed in myself. Um, I think understandably quite disappointed that I didn't make it. Um, so again, that took out a lot from me. And now in retrospect, I think it's pretty good that I didn't get the job because now in retrospect, doing like radio work, radio being a radio host, would have been a completely new field. I would have no idea what to do. I would have to do a lot of training, um, a lot of learning new things on the job the whole time. Probably would have taken me a month or so to get used to the new routine and to the content and to the not just the workload, but just the work in general. Right? Like I don't know what I'm doing at a radio station. I have no conception of what work is like over there. None. Um so in retrospect, probably a good thing that I didn't get it because that would have been pretty overwhelming right away. Um however, however, then a second thing happened that also turned out to be eh, ambivalent. So the other thing that happened is the game audio coming through. I don't think the game audio is coming through. Whoops. Yeah, no, the game audio isn't coming through. I did not realize that. I apologize. Let me see if I can change that. Oh no, it should. Maybe it's just too soft. In any case, though, I think I could turn on a little bit of music now that I think about it. Let me do a bit of music. So, um, where is my there? Let me get some Stellaris music going. Music. I have to route that through the correct audio cable. Come on. Where are you? Oh no, it is. Okay, I have to reset it here then. Properties. Ah, when wavelink. Ah, that's what happened. There we go. Okay. Oh my goodness. So I didn't just have to reset my wavelink. It reset all of the audio sources on OBS as well. Okay, but that's fixed now. Um so what was I talking about? What was I talking about? I was talking about the other thing that happened. Yes, so okay. So the other thing that happened that also took a lot out of me was months ago I had just randomly sent an application to a language school, to several others as well. You know, just trying things out. Um, but any language school that looked like it could provide me with a visa, which is what I need, a working visa to stay here and work here. I just sent an application because why not? I might as well try. And many of those just didn't reply. They just didn't hear from them. And one of them said, "Thank you for your application. We're not currently looking for a teacher." Okay, fair. And now, on the day, literally on the day, I got the reply from the radio station saying, "Oh, you're a second choice." I got an email from that language school. Oh god, there's pillagers here. Okay. Saying, "Yo, are you still looking for a job?" It's like, "Oh heck, yes, please. I'm still looking for a job. Please hire me. I'm willing to work. You know, as teaching job. Yes, I can do it. I will do it. No problem. I need a bucket. Um, please. When can I start?" And but one of the questions was also, yeah, what kind of a do you need a working permit? What kind of a visa are you on? What's happening there? You know, I was saying, I'm currently hired by another company, um, who graciously decided to take me in and give me a work or apply for a work permit for me, and then give me the allow me to get the visa through them. It's like, so yeah, when can I start? Very naively. I didn't know how things actually functioned. And then um the headmaster of that language school wrote back and said, "Oof. Um yo, if you already have a working permit with one company, you can't be hired by another company. That's not how this works." Sorry to say, but work permits are tied to the company. It's not like you get a general permit to work here and then you can just go to wherever you want. Right? If you have a work permit with company A, you have to work for company A and company B cannot hire you because then you'd be doing some weird legal shenanigans. And he can't offer me a position large enough to apply for a work permit on their behalf or through them. So it's like, oh, okay, that's unfortunate. Um, so end result was that I also am not able to work for them. So that got my hopes up. Right, set on the day I found out that I was second choice at the radio station. This headmaster writes me and is like, "Yo, you want to work? I might have a position for you." Um, and then over the course of the next couple of days, completely crushed my hopes again. So I had my hopes crushed twice in like 3 days. And that was just a 1-2 punch of, oh my goodness, I'm not worth anything. I can never find a job. What is wrong with me? You know, the spiral that just happens. And yeah, a fun time was had by all. Spoiler, a fun time was not had by all. Um, but that was rough. That was pretty rough. And yeah, I had to take a couple of days to recover. from that, going like, oh no, I'm back to square one. I'm basically, yeah, back to square one. I went through an application process, didn't work out. Uh, Another application I sent back months ago finally got results, but then that also didn't work out. So, yeah, that took quite a bit out of me. And so I was not feeling well. And then my mom went, you know what you need? You need exercise. So she dragged me to a gym. I was introduced by one of her friends. So the friend took us there to show us the gym and tell us, oh yeah, I'm also a member and this gym is pretty cool, blah blah blah. And my mom was like, you know what? Why not? Signed both of us up, and it's like, okay, you're going to the gym 3 times a week. And so I went to the gym 3 times a week, and whatever little physical strength I had left after all of the mental strength was completely sapped from me, was also completely eradicated. So I was an empty husk. I had no mental strength left because I was still recovering and thinking like, okay, what can I do now to find a job? And and now I also didn't have the physical strength left to keep myself distracted or to just at least function, right? Um so that also happened. And so I was just, I was tired. I was so tired. And at the end though, now it's been what, how often have I been to the gym? 2.5 weeks? 2 weeks, something like that. Um by now I'm kind of sort of used to it, right? In the beginning I was just completely dead and completely sore, and I cannot do anything, and um right, it's just completely drained of everything. And now I'm doing okay. I'm kind of sort of getting used to it. Um so now I have a bit more energy, and that's why I am now able to come back here and do some streaming. But it was a very tough 3 weeks. A lot of, or even more actually, because leading up to the job application was also not not easy. Definitely not easy. Um and yeah, by now I'm rested enough. I'm getting used to the physical exercise enough. Like, I haven't done exercise in years. The last 2 years before I came back here, like 2021, 2022, I didn't have a job because I was completely burnt out. Like, I was so burnt out, I got a doctor's notice that I couldn't work at all. And I was just in bed basically for 2 years. I mean, I was streaming during that time, sure, but I was so dead. I didn't have the mental energy for anything else. And yeah, so during that time I did basically no exercise. I ate super unhealthily. because that was easy and cheap. I I just was just lying around. I didn't go out. I didn't do a lot of things. So my I gained a huge amount of weight. I gained something like 15 kilos, which is like what 36. Well, no, not 36. 32 pounds, something like that. Um, in the span of 2 years, which is an unhealthy amount of weight gain. Um, and yeah, so I have no endurance at all. I have no stamina. I have no sports, no exercise energy in my body at all. By now that I've been to the gym a couple of times, I'm getting back into there. I do feel more energized. It is magic. It's like I go to the gym for an hour or so, a couple times a week, and I'm super tired. It's like, why am I doing this to myself? I mean, it feels good afterwards, but it's also like, why am I doing this to myself? But now, not even a month later, I'm like, huh, regular exercise has an effect, and it's good. I feel energized. It actually does give you energy. It's like magic. I hate that it works, but it totally does work. And so so that's why I do feel like I should be able to come back to streaming more regularly now. And oh, and another thing, yeah, and to have more energy during it. What I need to do is also I need to watch my sleeping schedule, my sleeping rhythm. It's pretty horrible right now. I don't get enough sleep. Um, and the whole like I have this big problem of between going to bed and actually falling asleep. It like that takes me a very long time. I'm just lying in bed for hours and I don't fall asleep. And I'm having that problem right now. So I go to bed at like what 1 or 2 a.m. and by the time I fall asleep, it's 4, right? And then I wake up at like 9 or so, so I get like 5 hours of sleep maybe, which is not great. Um, yeah. So I need to get that under control. Hopefully, now that the stress from all the job application, like the ongoing job application, I will have to send out more applications again. See if there are any language schools currently hiring. Um, right. Um, so that's definitely a thing I have to do. But that's not as much stress as being in the middle of the application process, right? Like having to look forward to an interview, being like looking at your calendar and be like, oh, on this day I have the interview, or be like go into the test, into the written test, a written exam, and be like, I have no idea what to expect, none whatsoever. Um, so yeah, that was stress. That was a lot of stress. Uh, what am I looking for? So that's all gone for now. Also, another thing that was going on is essentially I wasn't sure if I was going to get the job, right? probably going to get the job, likely, because I was, in my mind, recruited. Kinda, sorta, maybe. Um, so I also had to look at my schedule and be like, all right, I need to keep some uh I need to keep some time free for for the job, right? That is going to come up. I need to schedule in some work days during which I cannot do anything else, during which I cannot stream, during which I cannot go to the gym, during which I cannot do like my own stuff, rest and such, right? Um, so it's always like, okay, when can I actually stream? How can I get the most out of streaming? Oh, heck, my calendar or my weekly schedule is going to be so full, right? I mean, that was all for moot, as I know now, but back then I didn't. Um, and but that just put an extra layer of hesitancy on everything, being like, oh, when will I have time, right, to stream? When will I have time to work? Because again, this was coupled with me not knowing um, what kind of work awaited me, right? Not knowing um, how work at a radio station looked, and like how much workload it was going to be. Like I expected it to be a lot more in the beginning because everything was going to be new and I would have to train and learn and get used to it. So I was like, oh, will I even be able to stream during this time? What days can I schedule? Uh, how much time can I devote? Because if I have to squeeze multiple things into a single day, like if I have to squeeze streaming plus gym plus food plus extra time plus blah whatever into a single day, that means I can no longer do my 5 or 6 hour streams like I'm used to. I have to cut it down to 3 or 4, which I don't want to do. But it kind of felt like I had to do. Mainly because, hold on, yeah, mainly because job comes first, right? If I have a job, if I have a new job, that will come first, obviously. Um, so yeah, I was basically cramming my weekly schedule full of things and unsure of how much workload awaited me. So that added a lot of anxiety to it. Um, and took me a while to recover from that and all right. And actually be able to hit start stream and not just sit there going, I can't do this, I don't have the energy, I don't know what to expect, I don't have anything prepared, and so on and so forth. So yeah, okay. That's where I was mentally and physically for the past couple of weeks, really. That's why I was just gone. That's why I barely had any notices going on. I barely had any. Hey, turtles. Nice. Okay, that means we can get turtle eggs. Okay. Um, right. Barely any. notices of where I was, of what was going on, no updates, etc. Because I didn't know. I didn't know if I was if I was going to be able to keep my days. Okay, we need to build a new bridge here. Um, if I was going to keep my stream days as I had them, if I would have to cut down on one of them or not, which one I was going to cut, you know, and so on and so forth. So that didn't help. A lot of the anxiety did not help at all. And couple that with yet something else that came up. It didn't like come up suddenly. It was more a gradual realization. Um, and that was so Tuesdays I stream some old game, right? I call that Nostalgia Corner, and I had played through the original. Oh, I need to take a drink real quick. I had played through the original Mafia from 2002, I believe, right, which I played way back when, and that was indeed pure nostalgia. And then, I mean, the definitive edition of that game also exists. Came out 2020, yeah, 2020. So a couple years ago, and I was like, hey, I don't only do old stuff on this channel. I also do game design stuff, right? So why not play the original and the definitive edition of 18 years apart and compare them, right? Compare them in terms of like different designs, different structures, different choices that they've made during the development of the game, etc. How it's the same and how it's different. And so I started playing through the definitive edition, and it was okay. It was nice. But the more I played it, the more I realized I'm kinda sorta losing interest in it. And I'm always seriously debating, should I finish it just to, finish the game? Um or should I just wrap it up and say, yo, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. Um and what made the whole thing more impactful and probably a bigger issue than it really should have been is that I stream Nostalgia Corner and with that Mafia on Tuesdays, which is the first stream of the week for me, right? Um, so that's how I have it mentally. It's like, okay, weekend comes over, then Monday, new week starts. So first stream of the week is Nostalgia Corner. Right, second stream is tabletop workshop, and then I get to play the role playing game, the computer role playing game. Right, awesome. But so every weekend, I tell myself, okay, maybe this week I will return to streaming. Maybe this week we'll have recovered. And then I look at my streaming schedule. I look at. Are you okay, sir? Okay. Good day. Um, I look at what I have planned, and I look at my OBS, and I'm like, Do I really want to play Mafia Definitive Edition right now? Do I really feel like it? It's not. It's very much. It's not a game I can get hyped up for. That's more the case. Let me turn down the music a bit. It's a bit loud. Okay, there we go. Right, it's not a game I can get hyped up for. There are games I can get hyped up for, right? Where I can say, yo, I'm looking forward to playing this game. I'm looking forward to showing this game to everyone. I would like everyone to experience this amazing old game, right? Like Rise of Legends was one of those. Rise of Legends, is it a great game? I mean, I like it. It's not a superb game, but it's fun enough. It's good enough, and it's lots of nostalgia, and I enjoy it. And I could hype myself up. I could be like, yeah, no, I totally want to show people this game. Right? Let's do this. Same with some other old games I played, like Settlers 3, which I played a lot. Caesar 3, which I also didn't know a lot about. When I first played it, I was like, oh man, this game is nostalgia, pure nostalgia. Let's do this. You know, I forgot to bring a bed, is what I forgot. Welp. Um, and so those games, I was like, yeah, no. If nothing else, even if I'm kind of down, even if I don't have like 100% energy, mine diamonds. Hi Bernard, how are you doing? You know what's funny, Bernard? You can totally shout yourself out. So you have the ability to do so. Um but yeah, welcome. How are you doing? I hope this weekend is treating you well. But yeah, everyone go check out Bernard. Bernard is awesome. Plays a lot of brain games, big brain games. Um and And there are a couple of other games. I don't want to reveal them yet because I do want to like keep them a bit mysterious. But a couple of other old games that I really really enjoy. That I would really want to share with people. And those games I can say, yeah, I can sit down with those and I can play them even if I'm not at a great amount of energy right now. And Mafia Definitive Edition is not one of those. I need to grab a bed. Do I still have one in here? I have one in here. Um, right. So I couldn't even do that. I couldn't. It's not like an old favorite. It's not a game like Settlers 3 where I say, you know what? Even I can just sit down and play this. Right? I don't mind just playing this game. It's that's how much I enjoy it. Um, without even showing it to people, without any further ulterior purpose. I could just play this game. Um, Mafia DE is not one of those games. Um, so oh my goodness, that was closer than I wanted it to be. Oh, that woke me up. Okay. Um, right. So that's why it was difficult to hype myself up for that. And it being the first stream of the week was like, oh, I didn't manage to stream that one and that just sets a tone for the rest of the week, kind of. Right? It's like, okay, I guess this is like this I realize that this is a problem I have. Um like I tend to view things very all or nothing in that regard. It's like instead of saying, "Oh, this I just didn't stream on Tuesday, let's try again on Thursday." If I don't stream on Tuesday, my mind just switches to, "Oh, I guess this is a non-streaming week." It's much easier for my brain to fall into that than to say, "Okay, Tuesday was a dud, but let's hype ourselves up for Thursday." Um so
Endure.
that's oh,
In
that's
enduring, grow strong.
okay. I cannot pause this because this is multiplayer, but I'm not doing much. I'm just killing some squid. Um, I should, however, use this time to just drink something real quick. Oh no, there's a drowned. Oh no, there's a drowned. Get away. Um, I get that. Sometimes I start a new game for stream, and the next time I mean to stream it, I don't feel it like it anymore. Yeah, yeah, I feel that. Um, oh, where am I? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let me write on Discord real quick to see if we can get that bridge changed. I would like that bridge to be lifted so we can run boats underneath. But someone else built that bridge. I say bridge. So I am not just going to change it without asking. Uh, is it possible? Yeah, I'm not saying much right now because there's an ad. I just want the ad to disappear before. Uh, okay. Sent the message with the screenshot because we have a lot of bridges like these. Like all of these are not bridges. They are paths that are just water level paths. Um, just like, hold on. Them all to proper bridges. Yeah. Okay. Are we back? We're back. Roboto VT. Hi. How is you doing? Hello. How goes? Nice to have you. Okay. Ads are over. Awesome. So yeah. Um but yeah, I was talking about um hyping myself up for a game, right, to stream. Um like if I'm in a good mood, if I don't have any stress, if my depression isn't hitting me, which it did last week, pretty badly. Right, it's That's the thing with depression. If you get clinical depression, like I did, uh, whether or not you take medication or go to therapy or manage to like, pull yourself out of bed to do exercise or whatever it is, right? Doesn't matter. If you somehow manage to get over it and get better, right? Um, it'll always be there. It'll always all systems nominal. That is great to hear. So yeah, sounds like your weekend has been treating you well, which is amazing. Well, it's I don't know. Is it the start of the? It's probably the start of the weekend for most people. Um, it's Saturday here, so yeah. I guess in the U.S. it's just like Friday night, right? Early Saturday morning. Most people should be sleeping. Depression's a bitch. Yeah, the best you can do is build resilience. Exactly. So build healthy routines or healthy habits, healthy mindsets. Surround yourself with not like don't slip into toxic positivity. Don't surround yourself with people who say, "Oh, everything's fine, everything's good. Don't be sad, just be better." No, surround yourself with people who will care, who will be there when you need it, who will offer just I don't know an ear to listen or so, right? If you just need to vent, or who can just sit there with you in a voice call in silence for 2 hours. If you just need someone there but don't have the energy to talk, right? Things like that. But because depression is a change in your brain chemistry, which is why medication works, right? I mean, good and bad. That's the reason medication works because it alters your brain chemistry. But also, the bad thing is it never fully goes away. You can be better, you can be happy, you can be productive, you can feel worthy again and feel like you have a goal in life, etc., etc. But every now and then you get bad days, or if a lot of stress builds up, if a lot of things crash together at once, and then it comes back. Um, hopefully you recognize when it comes back. Like every time I do, every time it does happen, I kind of realize now, oh, so this is depression. That's what's happening to me, right? Um, and what and I need the people around me to realize or to know that this is what I'm telling them when I say, no, I am depressed right now, and I need them to know what to do, right? Because if you have the wrong people around you while you're depressed, it can actually make it worse. Um, so yeah. Um, but yeah, it hit me this week. I think yeah, early this week, beginning this week. I was like, I didn't get the job. I didn't get the other job as well. I don't know what I want with my life anymore. I don't have any goals in life. Nothing makes sense. Um, I don't think about tomorrow, and I don't have any energy for anything. I haven't streamed for 2 weeks. I'm not even a streamer anymore. I'm a big failure. Nothing I do goes right. Like anyone who's had depression probably understands these thoughts, and they're not pretty. Um, but you just gotta recognize that yes, while that is you, it is an altered you. So it is possible to get out of it, and I've managed to get out of it for now. Um, say it's curable, but the underlying conditions that often lead to it are not. Yeah, very good point. Very good point. Um, so depression doesn't just come out of nowhere, right? It's not just like we wake up one day, it's like, yo, I think I'll be depressed today. That's not how it works, right? So yes, very good point. Stress and how we deal with it, or what it reminds us of, um, and our environment and various ways of dealing with or coping with stress. It's mostly stress, right? And burnout and lack of energy and such. Yeah, very much so. And those are a lot harder to deal with. Um, so a lot of that happened, and when I am in a mood like that, or when I'm in a mood that leads up to like a day or two of like my depression coming back, um, then hyping myself up to stream is already rough. And on top of that, hyping myself up to stream a game I don't fully enjoy, that I'm just kind of streaming for quote unquote research purposes, analysis purposes. That's no, I cannot do that. Like if I was to just sit down and say I'm not feeling well today, but let's just play a game I enjoy. Play a comfort game, right? I can do that. In fact, I have done that before. Quite literally on stream several years ago. I was feeling really down. That was early on during my streaming career. Can you call it that? I guess. Right. I was not feeling great. I was having a really low day, and I say, you know what? I just want to hang out with a couple of people and play a comfort game. So I installed and launched Batman Arkham Asylum, which is an absolute comfort game for me. And then I played through the entirety in like an 8 hour stream, one sitting, beat the entire game. Because I just needed that. I just needed it. You know, just leave the world behind me, hang out with some people, play a game I love, and just sit there for 8 hours and and do that. So yeah, that totally happened. I still have that VOD on my YouTube channel, and because afterwards I played Arkham City, I still remember that I did that because I played through Arkham City, and Arkham City is a longer game, but also I didn't play through it in a marathon sitting. Um, I played through it like a normal human being, and split it up into multiple parts. So when I was organizing my VODs, I was like, okay, I have Arkham City Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, Part 4. I only have one stream of Arkham Asylum. Where are the others? What happened to part 2 and 3 and 4 of Arkham Asylum? And then I looked at the Arkham Asylum VOD. It's like, why is this thing 8 hours long? And then I realized, okay, I must have been having a really bad day to to play the whole thing in one go. I'm not going in there right now. Um, so that is totally fine. I can totally do that. Mafia Definitive Edition is not one of those games. It's definitely not one of those games. It's not a comfort game. It's not a game I play to just forget my troubles, so to speak. It's not a game to just sit there and zone out. Um, Also, the context under which I'm playing it. Right. I'm specifically playing that game to compare it to the original. And I didn't have the mind for that. So all of these different factors led me to just not looking forward to my streams on Tuesday. These villages, man. And if I don't stream Tuesday, then why should I bother streaming Thursday? And if I don't stream Thursday, why should I bother streaming Saturday? What is wrong with these villages? Holy heck. This is some wild geography. All right. Um no, it's not green. What is the village color? Yellow. Uh Okay. Oh, they have multiple bells. Look at this. They have one here and they have one hanging up there. Nice. And they have a lonesome farm all the way down here. It's not even a farm, it's just a field. Okay. Extreme villaging. I know, right? Making an extreme sport out of this. It's like humans can adapt to any environment. And these villagers are like, hold my beer. Um so yeah. It's crazy. I sometimes do wish that you could have more like tectonically based generation, like terrain generation and such in Minecraft. If it's even possible to inject a script like that into a game to change the world generation. I mean, people do that with new biomes, right? So maybe you can tell the game to use like tectonics and weather patterns and such to create biomes like this. Maybe. I don't know. I also wish I knew more about like coding and how computers worked and all of that. But I don't. I grew up in the correct era and then just slept on it. Um, so yeah. The game already has humidity and temperature factors. It does, yes, and it does generate biomes that way, but it's like I know it does that to prevent things like a completely dry and a completely humid biome from spawning right next to each other and so on. There's no better time than now. True. That reminds me of a different thing, but let me finish my point first. So I know it does that, but it might be possible to push that even further to have things like I mean it's difficult because the Minecraft world is effectively infinitely big, right? To have things like temperature bands and humidity bands and such, I don't know. Um, oh no, I need to explore up there. Um, but at least things like have mountain ridges and then have like rivers and lowlands and such. You know, there's a bunch you could do. I would also like it would be interesting if terrain generation could be more extreme. I know it's possible in the code because you can install mods, I believe, that push the maximum height from or the overall height from I forget what it is right now, like something like 350, 400 to like way bigger. So that is definitely possible. Um but it would be nice to have like really big mountains and really low valleys and such. Right? That would be cool. There's an extreme size world gen option. Uh is it still in there? I know they had the amplify world option, but I don't know if they took it out after they changed how world generation worked in general. Oh, look at that. It's a patch of road just stuck in a tree. Okay. That's that's using the environment, I guess. Amplified. Still here? Oh, okay. Nice. Nice, nice. Okay. Um yeah, but I think all that does is it makes the like it makes mountains bigger and valleys lower, but it doesn't change the actual Y values of things. Right? It doesn't make like the maximum build height Y larger than Y whatever it is now, and the lowest build height lower than Y negative whatever it is now. Right? That's what I'm talking about. I want to see mods or see things that can change the actual y values to maybe triple or quadruple what it is now, which would make for very, very extreme mountains in Minecraft scale. But you know what? Why not? You can do that with a data pack? Ah, yeah, okay. So the game is capable of doing it, but they just don't have it in the base game. Elven Road. Very nice. Um, but yeah, speaking of like learning how to code and all that, I read a very sobering and kind of sad report, or not report, but like it was like a tweet or something by a computer science teacher, computer class teacher in school, middle school ish. Which, if true, is pretty sad. And I've seen several people agree with it, so I believe there is some truth to it. Which is, what are you? Okay. That kids nowadays, because they don't use PCs anymore, they do most of their things on their phone, right? They don't learn like how the software structure of a PC is built. They don't understand folders. They don't understand what a right click is. Right? They don't know any of these things anymore. Ooh, what is this? Ooh, there's a fancy ravine. Um, because when you're on a phone, that's the thing I hate about phones. But that's because I grew up in the era when computers were Windows 95, right? Where this folder structure really came out and became visualized and such, and you really had to go into folders and change things. Um, uh, that like we had to go into Windows Explorer a lot, right? To look at like file paths and folder locations and I don't know, change the file type of something or exchange a corrupt or broken file with something else or delete a file that was causing problems in a program, etc., etc., right? Or when we wanted to a lot of times when you wanted to install old games, you had to literally copy things from CDs into certain directories and so on. Um, and do all of those yourself. Or way back when you had to like select what sound card your computer had. Those were the good times, right? It's like sound options, and then you got a list of like 30 or 40 sound cards that were in computers back then, and then you had to pick yours so that the game sounds could be played. um all of that is gone. And a phone, all of that is invisible. It's so under the hood, you don't even know there's a hood in the first place. Um, so it's really sad that a lot of kids these days then don't learn about this. It's a bit paradoxical, isn't it? Right? Technology, computer technology, is more important than ever, but kids don't grow up learning about how it functions. They only learn how to use the surface level, which eh, I don't know. Funny how much we don't think of foundational knowledge. Yeah, exactly. You don't need all of that to operate a phone, right? You don't need to go into folders and move files around or rename files or so. Heck, even if you want to look for Minecraft screenshots, you have to go into Explorer and go into app data and roaming and local apps and all of that, all of those folders to look for the screenshots. Um, because it was programmed during the time when that was still a thing. These folder structures. Uh, Everyone wants to be in cybersecurity. Yeah, I'm a cybersecurity specialist. Ooh, that's I envy that. Nobody wants to work in sysadmin development. Yeah, I know. It's like I don't want to know how computers work. I just want to work them, I guess, right? So it's yeah, exactly. You need to understand how how the machine functions. I guess how the software machine, how the brain functions before you can learn how to manipulate it, right? Where's the? Oh, that was not smart. Where is the shipwreck? I saw a shipwreck somewhere. Oh, I'm right above it. Okay. Um, I forgot what color I had for shipwrecks. Also purple. Okay. All right. Which is sad in a way, but at the same time, I look at that and go, I was slotted perfectly into the middle to understand things. Like when I worked as a teacher at the university, a lot of the people I worked with were slightly older, right? Something like 10, 15 years older than me. So they were in their 40s or 50s and so on. And none of them knew how to do things like Excel, right? I was the only one on two separate teams who knew how to properly work Excel. Um, and for very basic things, like as a teacher, we have tests, right? We have to do tests every couple months. Oh, that's a monument. Nice. And and then we have to input those test scores into a big table. So we have a big table, or we have several tables, one for each class, and we then have names and like student ID numbers, blah blah blah, and so on for every student, and then we have to. Okay, I'm leaving. And then we have to input the test scores and so on, right? And at the end, we need to because we all of our tests have multiple categories like reading and writing and listening, etc. We input the scores for all of those sections on their own, and then add up the scores, and then from that calculate the final grade, or calculate the grade of the midterm, and then the grade of the final exam, and then average those out into the actual final grade. So there was a lot of simple calculation happening, which is very, very easily automated, right? You just do a sum or you just do a lookup table of like if the score is between these two, it's this grade. If it's between these two, it's this grade, etc., etc. No one knew how to do that. No one. So they all did it manually. They input all the scores manually, and then they calculated all of the scores by hand, and then they input the scores. Like, okay, and if you miscalculate, if you like get a wrong answer, well then that's in the table now. Eh, that sucks. Um, so no one knew how to did that. Not even the people who created the table, which weren't teachers, which were like secretary type positions, right? Admin type positions, which is wild to me. Um, so when I did that, everyone was like, "Oh, how do you know this magic?" It's like it's just a simple sum this and sum that done. How do you not know this? Right. So I was the only one capable of doing this. Is this some sort of monument thing? What is this structure? I don't know. I'll have to look it up. Um, I worked in an accountancy, and I was the only one of two skilled Excel users. The whole company was a contractor. Oh my! In a building full of accountants. The other one was my mom. Wait, did you teach her then? Um, but yeah, you'd think if you work with Excel on a regular basis, summing up numbers or averaging scores or things like that, right? I think it's that most people, and this is something I discovered, most people look at Excel and think it's just a fancy preset up table. Most people just use it as a table, right? It's like, sure, I could do this in Word, but then in Word, I would have to first set up the table. If I go into Excel instead, the table's already set up for me. And that's what they treat it as. We learned independently? Okay. That's very good then. Very diligent. But that's what most people treat it as. And they don't even know that Excel can do calculations. That the whole point of Excel is to do calculations. That's why it exists. So I was the only one able to do that. So a lot of this stuff and a lot of statistics work, data set work, then fell onto me. I mean, I sought it out because I love data and I love analyzing it and drawing, like asking questions and having data answer it. That is something absolutely fascinating to me. Um, but also then yeah, all of those duties fell to me. And so I would work a lot of time just doing data. Um, and so I am young enough to have grown up with these things, to know what they are and to have worked with them and to have learned them. And now I'm seeing that I'm also old enough to have grown up with these things and to have learned them. Very strangely. Right? It's like I'm young enough to know how computers work, and I'm old enough to know how computers work. Which is such a wild thought of like, wait, so young people don't know how computers work? Yeah, apparently they don't. Um, it's surprising. This was not on my the future is great bingo card. You know, young people will be the future bingo card. But here we are. Most people don't want to learn; they just want to do. True. But what is it like? I know there's a programmer's maxim of like 2 weeks of programming can save you 2 hours of work, right? There's a joke, but at the same time, it's also 2 weeks of work can save you 2 hours of programming, right? Um, that also exists. So, and a lot of people I think just treat it that way, just brute force their way through it, and they do it again and again. Like we had to fill out this table every month and a half because that's how often we had exams, right? Every 1.5 months, we had to fill out this table. We had to put in the scores, we had to calculate the grades, etc. So we do this frequently enough that you'd think it could be an issue. But apparently not. People would rather spend all that extra time just yeah, just doing that. Just brute forcing it rather than using the tools. They learn exactly as much as they need to in order to do what they have to. Yeah, just finish what they have to. Not necessarily do it efficiently, right? But to finish what they have to do. To get the work done. If you're still interested in data analysis, I can point you to a good place to get started with coding. Oh yes, please. Please, please. I am actually very interested in data analysis. Um, I don't know enough about it, right? I never studied it formally. I had to learn a bit about it because a lot of linguistics is data analysis. I did have one course on like analyzing large scale data, like linguistic data. But that was one seminar I had for one semester, so not a lot, and it didn't really teach the foundations of data analysis. Um, More just like, here's a fancy program you can use, right? More like more an hands-on thing. Um, 2 weeks of googling will save you 2 hours of reading documentation. Ah, okay. That's what how it goes. All right. So there is a framework called Pandas, which is used for large-scale data processing. Okay. I don't I don't know if we used that one actually. So what we did in that seminar, a lot of linguistics is large-scale data processing because what you're doing as a linguist is you're looking at how people use language, right? How language is used in speech, in writing, in various mediums, and social contexts, etc. And then you look at all of that data, and then you draw conclusions from it, right? You say, oh, this word gets used more often than that word, or in this time, right? In this decade, word A was slowly being replaced by word B, or this word appears more in newspapers, but not so much in, I don't know, fashion magazines, right? Etc. Etc. Right? So you do a lot of that kind of analysis, and that was the kind of analysis the seminar was about. But it was more like, okay, this is why we do analysis. Here are some tools. One of them was called something to do with antgram or something like that. I don't quite remember. It was a long time ago. I had that seminar maybe 15 years ago, so I don't remember much. Um, and Yeah, and that was all we did. So it's like we need to look up one thing, just a hands-on, very quick one thing. And I looked up esports. How often is esports mentioned in news and magazines, right? Because at the time I was doing the seminar, like I said, 15 years ago, esports was just becoming a thing. And I was looking, oh, are more mainstream outlets picking it up or not? Right. So I searched for several terms on different magazines and newspapers and blah, and tried to put them into a timeline, how often they appeared when, and that was it. It was very shoddy work. It was my first time doing this, and it was enough. Right. It wasn't graded or anything. I just had to do the project. Um, So that's my experience with data analysis, mainly. Um, Framework called panels, yeah. So large scale, and it's in Python. I have actually, I have a long history in Python. Um, I did a programming class, like an extracurricular class back in middle school, and that was Python 2. Was it? I think. I forgot what came out, but wait, what version is Python on right now? But it was like an older version of Python that existed back then. Middle school, when was that? 1999, 2000, 2001, somewhere around there. That's when I first learned that Python was a thing. Python 3.12 is the current one. Yeah, so the one I learned was probably Python 2 something. Um, and and then I was like, hey, I learned a bit of this, you know. So I tried to pick it up various times. I tried to pick it up again. I do want to learn it. It is very simple or very gentle, as you say. It's a good word. Um, but it's difficult to really get into programming if you don't do it consistently, I guess. But yeah, no GUI, no fancy program, just code. Okay, okay. My advice is find a project you want to do and ask around, learn what you need to solve that project's problem. Yeah, I've come to see that that is a great way to learn things. Having an actual project to apply things to, because how I tend to learn is I learn holistically. I like to understand all the background stuff, which makes it a huge effort to learn things. But then when I do learn something, I I remember it for a long time because it's not just memorizing facts or information; it's actually understanding systems. Right? I need to understand systems uh, because otherwise it doesn't make a lot of sense to my brain. So, for instance, when I start learning a language, the first thing I do is I go to Wikipedia and I read the article z. Sometimes they have multiple on the grammar of the language. Like I just learned the entire grammar of the language in just in one go because I need to understand the complete system of the language. I need to understand what this language is about before I can actually start looking at sentences. Again, when I do look at sentences, I'm like, oh, okay, this is using that grammar and this thing, and now I can actually sort it into my brain. Um, so yeah, that's how I look at things. I want to see what proportion of people use X kind of words. Yeah. For example, yeah, that is one way. That is one possible thing. I mean, that would be linguistic analysis. I have done for fun. I have done a. We have here. Ooh. Okay. I have done a different. Oh, you can repair this portal. There's enough materials. Um, for a while, I was really, really into um, League of Legends. I was I helped run a community, League of Legends community, with someone. I was very much into the professional, like the esports scene, which is also why I chose esports as my project for that one linguistics class. And I I did some data analysis on one world championship. So I just collected things like pick ban data on champions and win rates from for champions and so on and so forth. Oh, sorry, yeah. Yeah, sorry, you got bonked by the automod. Sorry about that. Yeah, I should put that in the rules somewhere. The reason I have that up is because some people post malicious links. It's happened. Not for me, luckily, but I've seen it happen in other people's chats, and I've seen it being told for other people's chats. If you want to post a link, I can give you permission. Um, and then I can there, right? So you now have a minute to post the link, and you won't get bonked. But yeah, sorry about that. Um, so yeah, it sucks. All right, thank you. It sucks that we have to resort to these very harsh security measures because not because there are a lot of bad actors, but because the damage these bad actors can do if they slip through. Right. So that's it's not great. It's not ideal. Um, and hopefully Twitch might be working on projects behind the scene to help catch such people before they become a problem. But you know, Figured I'd try my luck. I should put that into the rules. I need to update the rules. There's a lot of things I want to update about the channel and the rules. Like make them clearer and put things in like links will get bonked. Please let me know if you want to post a link first, right? Notices like that can also go into the chat rules so that people know, right? And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's a thing. But yeah. So yeah, thank you for understanding. Um, but yeah, so I actually did that. I still have all my handwritten notes. So what I did was I just wrote down whenever there was pick and bans, and I watched basically every game because we watched them together as a community. Um, During every game, I would look at the pick and bans, look at what champions were picked and banned by what team, how often the champions won in what position. And I even calculated things like how scary is a champion versus how effective they actually were. Right. So I looked at what champion is banned super often, but didn't actually end up winning a lot of games the couple of times they did get through. So I termed that the fear factor of the champion, and that was my proudest stat. That's like that's the one stat I was like, you actually have to ask a more involved question and then actually look at the data to get an answer, right? That's not just something you can look at and just see, oh, okay, this champion was banned 72% of the time or something like that. No, it's a bit more involved and involves a bit more several statistics together. Right. So I was quite happy I came up with that. But that's like some of the data analysis I did. Or for university as well. Like we had like student records, right? When they came in for consultations, what the consultation was about. And this is not like private, personal consultation things. This is like homework. Oh, I have to write an essay on this topic. I don't know what to do. Or, oh, hey, I'm writing an application, a cover letter. I don't know how that works. Right. So that kind of consultation, writing consultations. So not like I wasn't snooping around in personal sensitive data of students, I hope. Um, but yeah, that was also something I did because we had several years worth of data like that, but it was kept by different people, right? Because as is the nature of a university, especially an office that tends to have a lot of student workers there, right? When students are done, when they graduate, they leave, and then other ones come in. And so you get a whole bunch of different people. That boat is floating? What? Okay. Um, but so we had a lot of different people come and go, and different people maintain this master table of the student records and such, of our consultation records, more like. And so it was a big mess. Everything was just dumped into one big table with no rhyme or reason. And I looked at this and said, why are we keeping this data? This data is useless, right? It's all just there in one big dump, sure, but no one can use it. No one can glean any insights from it. So I went to my boss and said, yo, we have this huge, huge Excel table with like 15,000 entries. I don't remember how much exactly, but like a huge amount of entries. Would you mind if I cleaned that up so that we can actually use it? And she was just like, sure, knock yourself out. And I did. Spent like 2 months cleaning up the table and then started analyzing the data. And it was a lot of fun actually, and it was so effective that at some point I the data I had then gotten from the table, so the extra analysis I did on the table was then used to change what data we actually ask for, right? What information we ask for during each consultation, which was like, okay, I actually affected lasting change. That's pretty cool, and all just by cleaning and analyzing some data. That's pretty cool. Also, if you're interested in learning Python, let me know. I used to do some stuff in it. It's been a very long time. I'd love to pick it up again. It'd be fun to learn with someone else. Yeah, sure, sure. I think that would make it a lot easier, right? Learning, having a study buddy. I did not intend for it to rhyme like that, but there we go. From the other side, also happy to help. Quite experienced. Okay, sure, sure. I am probably going to have a lot of very strange questions. um, but yeah, sure. I might come. I'm when I do go back to Python, it's always on my I want to learn more of this list. Um, so yeah, I'll definitely check. There's another shipwreck. Nice. These random floating shipwrecks. Look at that. Um, I have this ebook with like 100 Python problems for learning. Oh, yeah, sure. If you don't mind sharing, I trust you to try to figure it out yourself. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, definitely, definitely. I will definitely. I love figuring things out myself. I love puzzles. Um, so I love figuring things out myself. But sometimes the way a lot of teaching material works, and I realize this is a limitation of teaching materials in general, but it really it is not a good mesh for me. Is I work through problems and then I look at the answer to see if I got it right, and then the answer says like, yeah, okay, it's like this. Done. Nothing else. No explanation. No nothing. Right. And then I ask, okay, why is it like this? Or if I get something wrong, it's like the material is just like, yeah, you got this wrong. The correct answer is this. I'm like, okay, but why did I get it wrong? Why is the correct answer this and not that? Right? And and very often teaching material doesn't answer these. And I cannot. I cannot. Oops. Um it's not enough for me. I need to understand the why. which is which is also why it's so difficult for me to find language tutors. Because ideally, I need a language tutor who is a linguist like me. Because the questions I ask, like the level of I'm a linguist, right? So the level of questions I ask concerning languages, why is it like this in a language? Why is it like that in a language? Um, like 99% of people cannot answer them. And I fully understand that they cannot answer them because they didn't study linguistics. Duh. But that doesn't help me. Yeah. But if someone to get you unstuck or guide you is invaluable, yeah, definitely, definitely. Um, that's very much okay. Oh wow, I'm already here. Okay. Um, very much agreed. Like having a good guide or teacher or so. I say, being a teacher myself, um, is definitely invaluable. Um, so, but yeah, that's like the kind of questions I ask. Um, and I realize, like, to come back to the linguistics thing, is like native speakers. the thing that makes them native speakers is often that they did not explicitly learn the language. They learned it as a child, right? That's part of the definition. So they never really got an explicit explanation of how and why the grammar works in a certain way, or how and why a certain word is built like this, and so on and so forth. Um, so they don't know. If I ask them, they don't know. And then most people who learned the language as a foreign language don't know the language well enough, and lots of teaching materials don't go into that much depth. So they don't know, right? So I'm stuck with fellow linguists, of which there are not a lot. Too sad to say. Oh, that's another ruined portal down there. Um, so yeah. On the other hand, if anyone would like to come to me for any linguistics related questions, I am more than willing to help out. Um, I don't know linguistics is a huge, gigantic field that has a lot of not overlap, but that has a lot of interdisciplinary fields with many other parts of anything related to humans. Right, so there's things like neurolinguistics, sociolinguistics, uh, what was it? Cultural. Is it called cultural linguistics? I think it is. I even forgot the term right now. I'm blanking on. Historical linguistics. Right, a lot of these other parts that have to deal with humans and just a linguistic lens on that portion of human psycholinguistics. Yes, that's a big one. Thank you. Um, so it's impossible for a single person to be an expert in all of these fields. Um, but I do have a master's degree in it, so I did look into quite a bit just as in the course of my studies and the course of writing my thesis, etc. So, uh, yeah, if anyone does have any language related questions or linguistics related questions, language learning related questions, I am more than happy to share. And I love sharing. I'm not just saying that. Um, though I also understand that a lot of people don't even know what questions there are to ask. I feel like that about a lot of subjects. That's kind of how I felt with the whole radio station job, right? A lot of times when I was asking things like, so do you have any questions? I'm like, I don't know this field at all. I don't even know what questions there might be to ask, right? So I fully understand, which is why I want to. That's one more thing I want to change. About the channel. All I know about linguistics is Kike and Boo Boo. Yes, Kiki and Boo Boo. That's so fascinating. It's such a fascinating thing. Um, and sadly, there are a couple of hacks. I've met one personally, who take this a bit far. I will explain it after the ad because it might be a bit more involved. Um, right, but like not knowing what questions there are to ask, right? It's like I don't even know what information there could be that I should ask for, right? That kind of feel, and I totally get that. Um, but I think one thing that a lot of people might have some experience with is language learning, right? Learning a foreign language, and lo and behold, that's exactly what my master was about. My master was adult foreign language learning. Um, and there might be a lot of questions about that. So definitely something to look at. But yeah, I will let the ad play. Um, By the way, I'm not really doing any gameplay in Minecraft right now, which is why I will not pause, other than that's big multiplayer. All I'm doing right now is we had the world map, we had a border, a hard border on the world, which was roughly the explored section of the map, this little square. And now recently with a new update, the server admin said, you know what? Let me increase the world size. Let me push out the border. And so I now have to go and explore the rest of the newly opened map to update the world map that I have here. Right, it doesn't update on its own. I have to actually go there to visit it, and that's all I'm doing right now. So I'm just really I'm running around, not doing anything. I'm just running around, um, updating the map as I go. So that's why I will not pause, but I will pause any discussions. Hold up.
Endure.
Ah,
In
I can get
enduring,
food.
grow strong.
Let's do this. Let's cook some beef while we wait for the ads. Also, it's so hot. It's 32 degrees. It's 32 degrees. It's May and it's 32 degrees. Oh my goodness. Which by the way is Fahrenheit. I can do this. Uh what is 32 divided by 5? 6 something. 6 and a bit of change. Times 9 is 54 plus 32 is 86. So yeah, it's something like 88 degrees Fahrenheit. Oops, 88 degrees Fahrenheit ish. If you use that, if you're the only country in the world that uses Fahrenheit, that number is for you. For the other 7.5 billion people on the world, it's 32 degrees Celsius. So yeah. Um or almost 8 billion. I don't even know how many people we have in the world right now. More than 8 billion, I guess. So yeah, for the other 8 billion people on the world, it's 32 degrees Celsius. Um so this summer might be very hot, and it was quite cool the past few days, right? It was raining a lot. It was like low to mid 20s, which is very nice, right? You could go out and it was nice weather. Well, raining, but temperature wise it was nice. And now I'm sitting here in a sauna. So hooray! I'm sitting here sweating completely. It's not pleasant. And I don't know how well my mic suppresses noises. Like if I have my fan blowing, if I have the fan blowing, how much the mic is going to pick up, I don't know. So I'm hesitant to turn it up to too high, which I probably should at some point though, because it is getting quite unbearable. Aha! We've hit the border of the world. There we go. This is the border. Let me in. Yeah. In case you've never seen this before in Minecraft, welcome back, everyone. We hit the edge of the world as set by the admin. So yeah, let me take a screenshot. All right, so I can now continue. Oops, continue exploring. All right. What was I talking about? I was talking about changes to the stream, and I was talking about Kiki and Boo Boo, right? Kiki and Boo Boo. So, for those who don't know, Kiki and Boo Boo is an experiment run by linguists. Linguists love doing experiments with people because, people use language, and we would like to know how the human brain processes language. And we can't just crack open a brain and look at it and see, that's how language works. No, we have to test people. We have to do experiments to see how people react to certain things, or how they intuit certain things in terms of language. And Kiki and Boo Boo is one of these experiments. So how does this work? Now that I'm telling you about this, you can never take this experiment again, but that's okay. We have enough data already. Kiki and Boo Boo is essentially, you are given two shapes. One is like a spiky, roughly star-shaped, a very spiky shape. And the other one is more a roundish blob, right? So those are the two shapes that you are given, as images mostly. And then the linguist or the experimenter tells you one of these shapes is called Kiki and the other shape is called Boo Boo. Which one is which? And with significant majority, and I'm using significant here in a statistical sense, with significant majority, most people name the spiky shape Kiki and the blobby shape Boo Boo. There are a couple of people who do the opposite, right? Because people are not a monolith. Very understandable. But with a significant majority, significant difference. I need to leave. Right? The spiky shape is called Kiki, and the blobby shape is called Boo Boo. And what this is trying to look at is to see where did the first words come from. Because linguists know relatively well, once language already exists, right? We know relatively well. Let me explore the rest here as well. How one language changes to a next. For a lot of languages, we have pretty good records, right? For example, Latin. We can see exactly how Latin, vulgar Latin, not the classical written Latin, but vulgar Latin, changed into the various Romance languages. Because we have a lot of written records that survived throughout the centuries, and we can see these changes happening, quote unquote, in real time, right? By just putting these documents next to each other. Right. And there are some other amazing, like there are a lot of amazing historical documents of people complaining about the people nowadays can no longer speak properly. Right? That existed back then. There is an amazing text, and it has a Wikipedia article on it called the Appendix Probi. And the Appendix Probi is a text by a dude named Probus, hence the name, who writes like, all the people nowadays cannot speak proper Latin anymore, and then he gives us a huge list of, instead of this they say that, instead of this they say that. And this document is valuable for two reasons. The first reason is he lists all of the changes that were happening to Latin not during his lifetime, but that were visible in his lifetime, right? Things like nasalization. So instead of numquam with the M at the end, they say numqua, right? And a lot of words that he lists have this kind of change. So we can say, aha, ending nasal sounds were deleted, and the preceding consonants was nasalized to an ah sound, the typical French sound, for example, right? So we can see that change happening right there because he told us the change was happening. But the other reason this text is amazing is because when people nowadays go, "Oh my God, young people cannot speak English properly or cannot speak whatever language properly. They are ruining the language." Blah blah blah. We just say, "Yeah, yeah, a dude 2,000 years ago said the same thing. You know, get in line, right?" In fact, the earliest such text we have is a Sumerian text, several millennia old, of a dude, of a scribe saying, "Young scribes these days have not learned to write properly." So that existed like several millennia ago already, right? The more people change, the more they stay the same. Which is just fascinating and amazing. Um, But yeah, so we know how languages change once languages have already entered the picture, but we don't know how languages formed, right? We don't know. We are pretty sure that Neanderthals, for example, early humans, yes, we could speak. That's what set us apart, and Neanderthals probably could also speak to a certain degree, but we don't know how these first words came to be. So, to put it very crudely, how grunts became words. And the Kiki and Boo Boo experiment is there to solve that problem, right? Uh, Maybe there is just something inherent in human brains to associate certain sensations, perceptions, shapes, sounds, etc., to certain words. I mean, sounds are easy, right? We still have onomatopoeia to today, right? Which is just sound words. Um, so we use words to approximate real world sounds, but how do we approximate shapes or colors or feelings, right? Hot and cold or things like that, right? How do we do this? How do we transform these things into sounds? Is it completely arbitrary and random? Or is there something innately human that creates some sort of pattern? And that's what the Kiki and Booba experiment is, Boo Boo experiment is supposed to find out. And it looks like, because of the significant majority, it looks like that there is to some degree something inherently human that we associate certain senses and shapes and colors and so on with certain sounds, right? So spiky things have an E sound, and soft, round things have an oo sound. Something like that, right? That, like you can only draw conclusions that good with experiments like that, and it's difficult to set up experiments like this, right? Because you cannot just ask, "Oh, what sound do you associate with this?" And people go like, "What are you, crazy? I don't know what you mean." Um, right, so you have to contrive experiments like this. Um, but these experiments tell us very fascinating things about how human brains work and human thinking works, right? Um, and that's a fascinating experiment. So now you know, right, about the Kiki and Boo Boo experiment. And there are plenty such experiments which sound very weird and a bit mad if you just look at them and go, "What the heck? What are linguists thinking?" But really, we're trying to probe the depths of the mind to see, how do humans craft language? Do we even craft language to a certain degree? Is there something innately linguistic inside the human brain, or is it all just random? Right? Um, that's what this is trying to figure out. There's also the famous Woog experiment, which is like the thing it shows is something that linguists already know, but it's nice to have experimental data to confirm, right? Happy weekend. Hey, Amon. Hi, how are you doing? Nice to have you here. Happy weekend indeed. I hope your weekend is going well so far. Mine is very sweaty. Um, I realize it is starting to get close to 3-ish p.m. at some point. I will have to end sooner rather than later because I still have to go to the gym. I have a lesson at the gym, so I do need to head there. And my lesson is at 4. So yeah, I do need to end stream. That's the thing I was talking about all the way in the beginning. It's like I cannot, the way things are set up right now, the way I had my schedule because I thought I was gonna get a job is I don't get to stream as much. So I have to see how I can shift things around. I may have to change the days that I stream and so on. Testing the game with my IT class went well. Oh, that's good to hear. It's good to hear. Was it their first time playing? Or was everyone already, like, did they already know about D&D? Playing with first timers is always fun. I'm trying to organize some first timer games right now, but no one is replying. Cough cough. Some of them? Oh, nice, nice. Did they have fun? That's the most important thing. Did they enjoy it? I hope they did. If it went well, then I think they did. But yeah, it's always good to see people have fun with this hobby. Um, but yeah, the DM who made the one shot had experience. That is very good. That is usually very important. Yeah, to have someone with experience run the game. And I've discovered it also helps to have someone with experience as one of the players. Right, so not just the DM or the game master should experience. One of the players in the group should also have experience, and I've discovered that that helps immensely to demonstrate to the other newbies how role playing can work. Like when they sit there and go, "Oh, what do I do now?" The experienced player can take the lead and just play, and then the other players can look at that and go, "Ah, okay," and then they just get into it. I helped out with the spell knowledge. Nice. Found out that the Java team is a bit rougher for it, and a long game may not be your thing. Ah, yeah. Hello, Dolphin. Um, I mean, everyone has their style, right? And has their time and their methods of running games. Um, my first D&D campaign, all the way back with AD&D Second Edition, my first one ran for 3 years, which is an absolute anomaly, an absolute exception. I've never been able to get that again ever in my life. But it did run for 3 years, so I only now do I realize what an accomplishment that was. So yeah, that was wild. Offered to plan something, but maybe was not the right thing for the players. Uh, my story draft is a Fey Force called Force of Dreams. Okay, okay. I mean, you can embrace the fantastical, right? I think that's always a balancing act. Um, doing something fantastical to show what the game is capable of versus introducing something that the players might know better, theme wise, setting wise, etc., so that they don't get completely lost. I think it's a balancing act. Special origin for player character. Oof. Yeah, that might be a bit too far, right? I've found that it's easier, like if you have first time players, it's easier to give them something where at least some part of it is grounded, where they can latch onto it and understand what's going on. So one example, one adventure I played with newbies was, you are adventure archaeologists, right? The pulp era adventure archaeologists in the vein of Indiana Jones and Alan Quatermain and whatever else kind of adventure archaeologists might be out there. Right, the whole Sky Captain, the World of Tomorrow kind of aesthetic, um, that sort of deal. Uh, and like the sunken island or the pyramid of doom, all that, those sorts of pulp stories. And people can get into that. Or another one was, oh, you are shipwrecked and you're stranded on this weird island, and then it's like, okay, the people, the players can then kind of say, all right, I kind of understand, shipwrecked on a strange island, but then the island can be fantastical. So it gives them something to latch onto. Plot hook is that force of dreams make dreams experience and they're partly a reality. Okay, that is an interesting hook. Definitely. But yeah, stories and legends spoken in their manifest. Aha! And what the players are then manifested stories and legends? I mean, depending on how you sell that, that can work really well. It's like, think of any story or myth or legend, and you are that character. Right? You are King Arthur, or you are Gilgamesh, or you are... Who else is there? Joan of Arc, or I don't know, Mickey Mouse. Elvis Presley, who by now has probably risen to the status of myth and legend, right? I don't know. That inspired also Secret Origin for a player? Okay. Okay. So I can see how that might be not might be a bit too big for a single one shot. That definitely looks too big for a single one shot because for a one shot, you want players to experience the system, right? You want players to just get into role playing. You want them to just dive in and just play something that they can understand, where they know some of the tropes and so on. If you have a single player with a mysterious origin that they then have to discover through play, and you only have one session to do so, that's too much. But it's designed for a long game? Yes, that fits. For a long game, definitely. Just make sure that the other players also, or the other player characters also have something to go for them so that this one player doesn't steal all the spotlight. Right? But yeah, for a one shot, you want something simple, something down to earth enough that the players can just latch onto it and say, you are survivors in a zombie apocalypse. Okay, I've seen enough zombie movies to understand how that works. You are treasure hunters fighting the Nazis in the 30s. It's like, okay, Indiana Jones. I've watched that. Sure. You want to give them something like that. Or you are King Arthur's knights out to slay a dragon. Okay, sure. I can understand that. I can imagine that. That's what you want for a one shot. Or you are James Bond level. You're a team of spies like James Bond or Mission Impossible, trying to prevent a nuke being set off in Tokyo. Whatever, right? It's like, okay, yeah, I've seen those movies. I know what that is about. So yeah, that's the pitch you want for a one shot. So this is like tabletop tips. If you want to run a one shot with newbies, especially if you run it with experienced players, you can do whatever the heck you want, right? And the whole cool thing about running one shot with really experienced players is you can go wild. You are all a bunch of talking rabbits who have to fight the farmer who is building a radio tower on the field right over your burrow. Go wild. Like, okay. And then as an experienced player, you can get into that. Because why not? But as a new player, you're like, wait a minute. I'm already being overwhelmed by these weird shapes of all the dice that I'm rolling and all these new terms I have to work with. What are you talking about? I'm a bunny. Right? So I told them that the Fae who grew up in the forest maybe operate more on dream logic than conventional logic. Awesome. I love that. My idea is that Chell went missing and was lastly seen wandering into the forest of dreams. Uh-huh. Told them to, I'm okay with bigger number of players if interested, but that's starting session. Aha. Alright, so starting session for a longer campaign. Alright. Seems very interesting, definitely. Also, it is night. I should sleep. Um, it does seem like a very interesting premise. So yeah, but yeah, also definitely more for a longer game than anything else. Um, 6 or 7 people interested. Ooh, that's a big table. That is a big table. Um, Nowadays I don't run anything over maybe 4 or 5 because managing that is big. But yeah, an online table that makes it even more difficult. Like an online table with 6 or 7, that makes it even more difficult because you cannot like keep the other players, like watch over the other players, or just turn to them and be like, or they can't just raise their hand and ask a question. That makes it even more difficult. Oh my goodness. 4 players minimum. Wow. Okay, you're brave. You are very brave. I wish you the best of luck with that. Um, I mean, it is doable, right? Critical Role started out as having, what, 9 players or something like that? Granted, they were all experienced players and good friends who all know each other, and who've played with each other for a long time. But still, that's a big table. Um, it's an azalea. There's a lush cave. Let's go, lush cave. There's a lush cave somewhere underneath here. Might be just outside the border, but there is an azalea. I found one. Nice. Okay. Told them I need 4 plays. Figure out how many we should try and try it out for real. Okay, okay. Um, but yeah, I wish you the best of luck for setting that up. I'm also always looking to run a bigger game. I want to run a hex crawl, a more old schooly hex crawl. But I've never run one before, so that will be something completely new for me. Which is why I'm introducing so many people to the hobby right now, because that opens up the potential player pool. I'm doing this all for my benefit. um, Lower than 4 is harder for the players, and bigger as 4 is practically doable power wise. Okay, okay. I mean, yeah, sure, if you think so. I've run larger and smaller tables. Like my first group that I ever ran was 14 people, and that was way too big. I've like 4 or 5 is the most comfortable. 3, 4, 5, something like that. That's where I'm most comfortable. But that's just because my experience in running games have taught me this about myself. Oh, I am stuck. Right. Um. But I mentioned this and then never elaborated. So there's a couple of changes I want to make to how I deal with the stream. Um, And one I want to like probably get some feedback on, see if people think it's a good idea or not. So and these two are kind of connected. So I was thinking I already kind of sort of have a niche. Kind of sort of 2 niches, right, when it comes to streaming. I stream old games because I am old, so a lot of these old games I have actually played when growing up. So I will look at them completely differently than someone who picks up this old game nowadays with completely fresh eyes, which is awesome, right? I love that for them. But at the same time, I have to acknowledge, yeah, no, for me, playing an old game that I've played 20 years ago, that's a completely different thing than someone playing the old game completely fresh nowadays. So that's one of my niches. The other niche is that I do game design, so I can talk a lot about the design of games and such, right? And I actually design games live on stream, and that's not something a lot of people do. And awesome, niche. I should totally have that. Um, but then I found there's actually another thing I know how to do, and that is linguistics. I know linguistics. I studied that for many, 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 many years. Um, and I worked in it and did research in it for many more years. So the idea was I have seen a couple of streamers do this, and that is as part of their stream title. They're really bad with languages. I mean, most people are because linguistics is not something you usually learn anywhere unless you specifically study it. And a lot of language teachers, a lot of teachers in general, are not good, I have to say. Um, I've been taught multiple languages in the course of my life, both out of personal interest and as part of my studies. Oops. And I have to say that many language teachers, or many teachers in general, are mediocre, right? So I'm learning from their mistakes. um, so yeah, that's a big reason why so many people, when they look at languages, they're like, I don't know what I'm doing. It's like, yeah, it's not your fault. It's your teacher. Your teacher didn't prepare you well. Um, where am I? This is not good. I need to get out of here. Um, Minecraft is also a bit old. Don't say that. uh, I mean, you are right, but also, um, I had an English teacher who was a stickler to the rules and showed when he was disappointed with the results. Oh no. I hate teachers who are discouraging. Like, teachers, here's my philosophy being a teacher. A teacher needs to, at the very least, show, if not have, passion for the subject they are teaching. Because if they do, then hopefully the student can see that passion and develop an interest and maybe even a passion for themselves for the subject. But if the teacher is just teaching the thing because they have to, right, and they don't have any passion for it anymore, if you're not passionate about the subject, why do you expect students to have any interest in what you are teaching? Right? Like that's just eh. It's the reason why when you're doing like gym classes, for example, and you're doing, say, classes on a stationary bike, right? There's a reason the trainer in front of the class is also on a stationary bike along there with you. They don't have to be. They're just saying, all right, now let's go faster. And now we're going up a hill. Da 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 da. You got this. And like 15 more minutes. They can do that sitting on a couch eating chips. Right? The instructions won't change. But the feeling will, right? Like it's like if the trainer isn't also passionate about being fit and healthy and training there with you and sweating there with you, why should you? Right? And it's a very, I know it's a very like lizard brain thing, but it is totally a thing. So I hate teachers that are discouraging and that are just like, I am teaching this because I want to have an orderly classroom and I'm on a power trip, rather than I am teaching this because I find this is fascinating and I wish for you to know it as well because you might also find it fascinating. Right? That's why I teach, because genuinely I find a lot of things fascinating and I wish for more people to discover these things, and maybe they will discover a new, I'm gonna die, a new hobby or a new subject that they're interested in, right? That's my view on teaching. So do it well or leave it. Yeah, 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 exactly. So and that doesn't mean you have to be hyper all the time as a teacher, right? No, but there's more than one way to show passion about a subject, right? So yeah, totally do that. Okay. Um, so yeah, that's my view on teachers, and way too many teachers are just dispassionate tyrants who are out there because they're on a power trip and they can rule over students. That's why they do it. Um, he created the bad perfectionist angle. Oh no, that is horrible. Um, the reason why I love the mathematician teacher I had. Yeah, yeah. There is anyone who's interested in mathematics. There's one teacher who records all of his lessons and posts them on YouTube. Right? You don't see the students, which is good. You only see him. Um, but he's just teaching. I don't know what level exactly. High school, maybe high school math, middle school, upper middle school, high school math, somewhere around there. And he just posts all of those lessons on YouTube, which is really amazing. And he's called Eddie Wu, WOO, Eddie Wu. And holy heck, uh, some really good things from him there. So I learned a lot from him again. Like I like math, but a lot of the explanations I find are just bad. So he does it really well. And the later teacher was a native English speaker. Okay, okay. The old mathematics teacher showed that he would explain one topic 7 times over and showed he would explain it 8 times again differently to help his students. That is great. That makes, yeah, that is amazing. I try to do that as well because that makes the students, that makes it feel like that the teacher is not just explaining things and expecting you to learn, because that makes sure that the teacher wants you to understand and wants you to learn, right? And that is amazing. Like they won't give up until you have understood it. And that is an amazing thing to see in a teacher. Um, I've had some teachers like that as well. Right? They don't just say, "Dude, I've explained this 3 times. If you don't know this, then you're dumb. Figure it out on your own." It's like, oh, thank you. You suck at your job. Thanks very much. Right? It's not the student's job to learn. It's the teacher's job to teach. And many teachers just forget that. Um, so yeah. Are you still gonna be aggressive? Okay. Um, so it's always great to have teachers who care about their students learning rather than just spending time in a classroom and just talking a bit, right? Question for him was an opportunity for him to find a better way. Yes, 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 yes. And I say this from my own experience as a teacher. Sometimes students ask really weird questions, and then you go, all right, let me try to find a way to explain that. And as you are explaining it, you learn more about your own subject that you are teaching. Like, I've had that happen multiple times simply because I was confronted with a very strange angle of looking at it from a student who asked a certain question, and then I was like, okay, how do I make sense of this? How do I explain this? And in explaining, I discovered new things and new connections in the subject, which is amazing, right? And it's great for the teacher as well. So definitely good. Yeah, improving at being a teacher. Very much so. Where am I going? Okay, still going this way. So I should be hitting the wall soon. Yeah, there it is. Um, I had a teacher once who was offered a question and he answered with, I might need to look into this on my own for a bit, explains question. Yeah. And I do that as well. That's another thing a lot of teachers are afraid to do. Admit that you don't know everything. Right? I did this as well as a teacher. When someone asked me a strange question, I was like, okay, hold on. I have to look this up. I will tell you next time. Right? And then I go home and I actually look it up because I'm interested. Right? I'm curious. Next week, you came back with the answers. Yeah. See that. Okay. I love teachers like that. Those are amazing teachers. I did my homework. And setting a good role model, right? Setting a good example. That is so great. That makes me happy that teachers like this still exist. Um, but sidetracked again. That's okay. I like getting sidetracked. That's okay. But I did want to ask about this one thing. Um, one change to the stream. So I've seen several streamers do this, and that is with their stream title, right? It's like, okay, I need to find an interesting stream title when I stream. And just the whole boring like, oh, just playing some Minecraft, come join in chat, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. I was like, sure, that explains what you're doing, but that title is not very interesting, and it doesn't set you apart. So a lot of this is just setting you apart. Next week is the Mirage session? Ah, okay. Then good luck with that one. So what I've seen some streamers do is they will ask a question in the title or post a strange fact. We have a mushroom island that we cannot access because the border. But we have a second. Do we have a second mushroom island? We have a second mushroom island. Nice. Okay. Right. So ask a question, just like a strange question, like a question of the day type of thing, or post a strange little fact in the stream title, so that when people check it out, they're like, "Wait a minute, what is going on here?" And they're like, "Oh, I didn't know about this fact," or like, "Oh, I'm here to answer the question," because people love answering questions, right? Opinion-based questions, mainly. Um, and I'm thinking of digital brick game, low resolution Lego simulator. Um, so what I've been thinking of is I can tap into a certain range. I haven't looked into this too much, but a certain amount of strange linguistics facts, right? So I could maybe put those into the title. Um, and then, immediately have something to talk about when people come in. It's like, oh, I didn't know about this fact, or oh, please explain more about this fact, right? And then immediately I would have something to talk about. Or maybe someone's like, oh, I knew this, and here's another fun fact, and so on. And I could do that. That would mean, of course, that the stream titles would have absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with what I'm playing on stream. But and it would also mean I would have to do this with games where I can actually just freely talk. This is why I chose Minecraft today. Because Minecraft is a game I can just kind of do in the background and can just talk to chat, no problem. This entire coral is outside of. Whoa, is outside of the zone. Mm, right. So that's how we could how I would have to set that up, but that is a possibility. So I don't know if people would be happy or okay or interested in these linguistics facts and want to see me make titles like that. Or if people are like, nah, that sounds like a horrible idea, don't do that. So I am trying to gather a bit of feedback, both from other streamers and from viewers, right, to see what they think about this idea. But that is a big one that I've been thinking about. One of the big changes I've been thinking about possibly making. Oops, that was the bed. That wasn't the boat. Are you kidding me? Mining fatigue. I still have this. Okay. Are you kidding me? Oh no. I can't even break the bed properly. Wow, we'll be stuck here for hours. I don't have hours. I need to leave. You craft a water bed. Exactly. But I need that bed. I can't just leave it here. Can be interesting, or maybe as a fact, partly too long for a stream title. Yeah, I would have to really shorten it down and summarize it. But the whole point is to get people interested as like, oh, this is a fact. And to get them to, watch the stream and then ask me about it. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. That's the whole point, is to get people to click on my stream and to watch. And if facts like that can help, so that they come in and it's like, please explain more, right? Then that is a win. It's a cheap trick, but there are like 7.5 million streamers on Twitch. I have to stand out somehow. I would like to stand out somehow. Oh my god, this is the toughest bed in the existence of beds. But if I run out of facts after a while, yes, that is the big worry. That is the one big worry. I don't know how many interesting bite-sized facts. I mean, obviously, I studied linguistics, so I know quite a bit. But how many of the things that I know, can I package into interesting little facts for a stream title? That is the biggest worry right now as well. Definitely. But I mean, I can do that for a while, right? And then just stop if I run out of facts. Or heck, if I have enough facts and it runs for long enough, right? If I have 100 facts and I manage to use them across an entire year, I can just start reusing some of the early facts again, because that was a year ago when I used that fact, and it's still an interesting fact. So why not? That's definitely a possibility. Loop them, yes, exactly. If I have enough of them collected, so that people don't go, hey, you used this fact 3 weeks ago, but it's like, I don't remember, but maybe this fact happened like a year and a half ago. Then I can do that. Fluffy bet refuses to yield. It just bounces off all of the feathers. Okay, that's how it's supposed to go. So definitely something I could do. Right? So that was the big one. The other one is a bit more difficult on me. The other one, the idea was to have like more interactivity on stream, more channel point redeems and such, right? Um, because that's also a cool thing to have. Um, and one of the channel point redeems I had in mind was a linguistics story, a cool linguistics story slash fact kind of deal, right? But that one involves a lot more preparation, I think. And I'm more afraid that I will run out of facts with that. Um, or maybe I can combine them, right? I can have interesting linguistic tidbits as the stream title and still have a redeem where it's like, please elaborate, right? And someone redeems that for I don't know, a handful of points. And then I elaborate. Okay, on the thing I had written down. Do you wish me to read the Madness I Know for Mirage? Uh, Not right now, I'm afraid. I do have to. This death came at a good time. I do have to end. I still need to eat a bit of food and get changed and get ready because I need to head to the gym. Um, I need to be there in an hour, so I do need to be ready. Gravity's mean. It is, yeah. So next time. But I am sorry. I was gonna end soon, and then that death came at the perfect timing, I guess. So I do have to end and find someone quick to raid out. I hope next week it works out. Can share how it played out. Yeah, definitely, definitely. Um, the changes in character abilities, right? So yeah, definitely. But for now, I need to look for someone to raid. Who is there to raid? Let me see. Who is on? Oh. How long has the stream been going? 7, almost 8 hours. I don't know if it will continue. To be fair, I don't know. We might be, and this one has been going for 4 hours, also been going for a while. Are they also ending? Is everyone ending now? Oh no. Although, yeah, no, I have a couple of people here. I'm just checking if their streams are ending or not. No, looks okay. Looks okay. All right. Let us go raid Cornea. Cornea, who is a mermaid VTuber, who's been going for. Did I get the name right? I didn't get the name right. Cornea. Yes, who's been going for almost 8 hours, so a bit worn out already, but playing Yakuza 5 Remastered. I didn't know it went up to 5, but okay. So yeah. Thank you everyone for being here. And I think I'm finding the energy to stream again. I'm at this 3-week break, while a bit disruptive in my schedule, was necessary. I think by now I am getting used to like going to the gym regularly, hopefully getting my sleep schedule together, and streaming again and maybe finding some things to do. So yeah, I will hopefully be back next week. I can't make any promises, no schedules right now, but yeah, hopefully be back next week, and I will see you all soon. Take care and bye bye.